Hi, class. So we talked about the area and the perimeter of different shapes in the last few videos, but now we're going to talk specifically about circles. Because they are round, we don't have a perimeter. We have what's called the circumference. But then we also have the area of a circle, which is everything that's on the inside. So we're going to show you how to do those equations, and those have their own little formulas separate from the other area formulas. So first of all, for the area of a circle, let's work with that first because that tends to be, in my opinion, a little easier. The formula for area of a circle is going to be pi times radius to the second. Now, if you don't know, pi is 3.14. It is always 3.14, okay? It's never any other number. You will always use, for our purposes here, for our GED, you will always use 3.14 as our pi. So now to get the area, you're going to do pi times radius to the second. Now you're thinking, what is this radius? Okay, now radius is the halfway point between a circle. If you laid out a circle and you measured it across and you got to the halfway point, that is the radius. Now, if you wanted to go all the way across, that would be your diameter. So if you have a radius of 3, you can figure that your diameter would be 6 because your diameter is always double what your radius is, okay? And your radius is always half of what your diameter is. So if I said my diameter is 6 and you didn't know that this was a 3 here, you could say, well, if the diameter is a 3 and I need the radius in my formula here, then I could just cut this diameter in half and come up with 3 for my radius. So we're going to use 3 and 6 for our numbers here. Again, my drawing's a little crude, so don't mind that. So let's work this formula here. Our area is going to equal 3.14 because we know that pi always equals 3.14. Okay, times, okay, our radius, which is 3, squared. Now, again, I'm going to encourage you to put this into your calculator because the GED program allows us to do the calculator. You are on a time crunch and you want to make sure that you use your time wisely. So we're going to put this in as 3.14 times 3 squared, and we end up with 28.26. So the area of this circle is 28.26 in centimeters, inches, feet, however, whatever it is on that specific problem. Okay, so let's do one more for area. Let's clear out these totals here, and let's go ahead and change these numbers right here. Let's say that the area or the radius of this is going to be, or diameter. I'm going to give you the diameter's 14. Okay, actually, let me give you the diameter is 36. Okay, let's make this a little bit more difficult, up the stakes a little bit. So if my diameter is 36, what is my radius? Well, my radius is always half of my diameter, so my radius would be 18. Okay, so let's do our area problem here. Let's plug in our pi number right here, which is 3.14, right? We're going to multiply it times the radius, which is 18 squared. Now let's plug this into our calculator here. 3.14 times 18 squared. And you should end up with 1017.36, or if you were to round it, if it told you to round it, it would be 1.17, sorry, 1017.4. Okay, so now that's how you've just solved the area of a circle. Now let's get out of area and let's do the circumference. Now the circumference is all the way around, okay? This is going to be what is equivalent to our perimeter, okay? So our circumference of a circle is going to be C equals 2 pi r to the second, or to me, I think an easier one is going to be C equals pi times diameter, okay? I like this one because for me, it's just as easy to figure out the diameter before and not have to worry about putting in that extra step. So let's do this both ways if we have to, okay? So let's look at our circumference and let's just say that our radius is 3. Now we don't have a diameter, so we would obviously use this formula here, right? Because that's the one that has the radius. So C equals 2 times pi, right? Because our pi is 3.14, times our radius, which is 3 squared. Again, we're going to put this all into our calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 3 squared. And that is going to give us, is that the right formula? Let me double check this. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is not the right formula. I checked my math. Let me back up here. See, even teachers make mistakes here. And let me rewrite this. So it is not our radius to the second, okay? In the formula, I misread that. It is not to the second. It is just 2 pi r, or pi diameter. So let's rewrite that, okay? So let's start fresh. C equals 2 times pi times our radius, which is 3. So now we're going to put that into the calculator, and we end up with 2 times 3.4 times 3, and that gives us 18.84, okay? So now let's do that same problem. Let me put this over here since I write so big, and let me do it using this formula here, okay? C times diameter. Now, if my radius is 3, I double that, my diameter would be 6. And I would do pi times 6. And we simply put that into the calculator, 3.14 times 6, and we would end up with, again, 18.84. Okay, depending on how you wanted to do that. Let's do one more since I messed up the first one. And we will do this with the numbers 5 for our diameter. Okay, now we don't have to figure out our radius here. We don't even have to use this one with the radius because we already have the diameter. But just for the purposes of learning, we are going to do both of them. Okay, so let's do the one with our diameter first because that's what we have. C equals pi times 5 because that is our diameter. And that's going to give us 15.7. Okay, so that turns out that this one here, we already had the diameter. It turns out to be 15.7. Okay, let's do it if our radius, if we just had the radius. So if our diameter is 5, our radius would be half of that, and that would be 2.5. Okay, so let's do that one there. This is this, and now we're going to do this over here. Okay, 2 times C equals, 3.14 times our radius, which is 2.5. Now all this is kind of running together, so I'm going to make my multiplications here so you guys can point out the decimals and the multiplication. So we're going to put this into the calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 2.5. Okay, and that is also going to give you 15.7. Okay, so that is how you find the area and the circumference of circles. Remember, if the formula asks you for D and you only have R, you must convert that. Okay, if it asks you for R and you only have D, you must convert that. Okay, you can find all of those formulas on your formula sheet in the GED book. If you have any questions, let me know.